Alrighty, so we have an intriguing matchup here. It's Phil Hawes versus Carl Daukaus. Carl Daukaus is 3 inches taller, however Phil Hawes has a 1.5 inch reach advantage. Crazy long reach on Phil Hawes for his height. Alright, so we'll break down the striking of these two. So Carl Daukaus, he's a southpaw. I think he has nice hands, he has fast hands, same as his brother, Chris Daukaus. But I don't think he lets his hands go enough. Like, when he does let his hands go, they look real crisp. He has a nice 3-2, 2-3. That's when he lets his hands go, but mostly, he's just on singular strikes, like the counter two at distance, the body kick versus orthodox fighters, which I think will be open here versus Chris Hawes, who he keeps that high guard, that high boxing guard. And as I said before, Phil Hawes likes to keep that high boxing guard, so a lot of his stuff's coming down the pipe. It's the 1-2, the counter 2 as you're closing the distance. He will go for a counter right overhand or a counter right hook when you do get in close. One of his main weapons is the low calf kick, and he likes to attack the low calf kick early and often, but in this one, it probably won't be available to him unless he goes inside calf, because Carl Daukaus is a southpaw. As I said, Phil Hawes likes to keep his hands up at distance, but after he pops out the jab or after he throws the two, his hands do drop after he throws them until he eventually brings them back to his chin. But yeah, that can sometimes get him caught, and also his head doesn't move off center line, so I think in general he's pretty hittable and he's quite a target on the feet. For Carl Daukaus, what he does that I don't particularly love is that he will keep his lead hand low at all times. So yeah, that can definitely get him caught by the right overhand and the right hook from Phil Hawes in this one. Alright, so yeah, Carl Daukaus, also what he likes to do is clinch up when his opponent closes distance. He'll pretty much do that every time when his opponents do get in close. He'll look to clinch up, look for the Muay Thai plum from there, and then look for the knees to the body. And a lot of his takedowns do come from the clinch. He has a nice inside leg trip from the body lock or just the over-unders in the clinch. And once he does get the body lock in the clinch, he'll look to control you from there. And he'll look to use his height to really, get head pressure, pretty much just control the clinch once he does get the body lock, and then he'll eventually go for takedowns. But overall, he does set up his takedowns and his clinch entries quite well when he is trying to be proactive with his clinching and his takedowns. Phil Hawes is no stranger to wrestling either. He has a very nice blast double. He has really good timing on his blast double, and he'll look to level change pretty much every time his opponent advances. And we saw that in the Imovov fight, or however you say his name, Imovov. Pretty much every time Imovov would close distance or just like blitz him, he would just level change and then get on the hips quite easily. And then, once he does get the takedown from there, he'll look to turn the corner, get the wrestling ride, and look for mat returns from there. But he's not really much of a top player. Whereas Daukaus, he'll look to reverse a takedown with a high elbow guillotine, and then, if the opponent's not defending it correctly, he'll look to lock it in mount. But mostly, he's just looking to defend takedowns with that type of technique. And once he does get on top, he has really nice flowy transitions. He's really smooth on top from going to, transition to transition, so side control mount. He's good on top and good at maintaining top control. When his opponent's just trying to get up, trying to muscle their way up, just with their upper body, he'll look to set up the DAS grip. He'll use that to peel them back over onto their back, or he'll just look to set it up and then roll them over and then continue his top control from there. But yeah, a few things he does that I'm not super high on the mat is that he will accept inferior positions on the mat and in the clinch quite frequently. So like, he'll get reversed in the clinch seemingly quite easily, and then he'll just accept being pushed against the cage for long periods of time. Also on the mat, he seems to accept bottom position quite easily. He'll even lock his guard at times and then look for stuff off his back, which is, dangerous at the UFC level because everyone's so good at maintaining top control and then not getting subbed off bottom. It's you don't see many submissions off bottom or many people winning decisions off bottom in the UFC. Like it isn't a historically successful style, so you got to be on top really. But also, it leads to opportunities for his opponent to ground and pound him. And Phil Hawes, he has some power, so if he gets some good ground and pound shots on you, you could be going out. So yeah, how these guys win fights, as I said before, as I said just then, Phil Hawes has some decent power in his right hand. He also has good takedown defense. For Daukaus, he has really good takedown defense as well. I was surprised. But yeah, he's seemingly has really good takedown defense. Also a good frame for the division. And once he gets on top, he's super flowy and he's super dangerous with the submissions. How these guys lose fights. So for Kyle Daukaus, sticking with him, it's the grappling tendencies that we talked about before, like accepting bottom position and all that kind of stuff. Just go back if you want to listen to that. For Phil Hawes, it's the cardio. He tends to slow after 1.5 rounds. Also on the feet, he's quite hittable. He's quite stiff on the feet. I think he's still, getting comfortable on the feet. He's coming from that wrestling background. I think he's still getting comfortable in MMA with the striking. And also he has a suspect chin. Like, he's been hurt a few times, been knocked out cold a few times. Yeah, I wouldn't be confident in his chin. Path to victory for these two. For Phil Hawes, back him up onto the fence, and then look to change levels and get in the clinch as often as you can, and then look to take him down from there. Look for some ground and pound and half guard and guard. And as he's advancing with his combinations, look to level change, blast double, get some top control, ground and pound, rinse repeat. For Kyle Daukaus, look for combinations on the feet. Just keep him at the end of your punches, so the 1-2, keeping distance, high kicks. He's been caught with that a few times in his career. Teeps to the body, just distance creating techniques. Also, if you do find yourself in the clinch, look for elbows, look for damage in the clinch. Hit the body in the clinch, try and wear at the cardio of Phil Hawes. Also look for your own trips in the clinch, try and see if you can off-balance him. Alright, so how I see the fight playing out. Alright, so as I said before, intriguing fight. I've been going back and forth on this one throughout the whole week. All week I was on Kyle Daukaus, I was feeling Daukaus as my... But now, after reading my notes again, I'm kind of thinking Phil Hawes takes it. Yeah, I'm just not as high on Daukaus as a lot of people, are on him. He seems to lack structure in his game. However, I do believe we've seen the ceiling of Phil Hawes, whereas Daukaus still has a lot of potential to polish things up and really look amazing every time he steps out into the octagon. Like, he has all the talent and all the physical attributes to be really good, but I feel like he just needs some strong glue to bring it all together. I mean, i.e., like a good head coach to really bring everything together, sharpen everything up. He has a very good wrestling game himself. You might think Phil Hawes might have the wrestling advantage here, but Daukaus has very good wrestling and very good takedown defense. And I think his length might give Phil Hawes some issues in the wrestling exchanges. I can totally see the wrestling just cancelling each other out and it just becoming a clinch war where, Phil Hawes, the physically stronger guy, will be pushing Daukaus against the cage, but Daukaus will be landing the better strikes in the clinch, like elbows and knees. So it will just depend on what the judges prefer. Seems like more recently they're preferring the cage push to, a bit of offense being landed on the feet. In the clinch by the guys getting, pressed against the cage. So yeah, it just depends on what the judges think there. But if Daukaus is able to get Phil down, or end up on top in a scramble, I think he could find a sub pretty quickly. I think he'd be able to roll on the feet. But on the other hand, if Phil gets on top, if he gets a takedown, I believe he'll be able to get some good damage on top and also get some good control time. I don't think Daukaus is going to sub him off bottom. I might eat my words there, but I just don't see that happening. Yeah, so looking at the line, I was kind of surprised to see Daukaus as a favourite, since this is a very similar matchup to the Kisriev fight, which was his last fight that got cancelled, where he was the dog in that fight. Stylistically, both Kisriev and Hawes are aggressive wrestlers who tend to fade as the fight goes long. Also, I'd say Hawes has better stand-up than Kisriev, but I think the line is indicative of the loss of confidence in Hawes after his last performance against Imavov. However you say his name, jeez. It seems like if you extend Hawes past round 1, he's much less dangerous as the fight goes into rounds 2 and 3. Both his losses happened in round 2, and more recently, he didn't look great in rounds 2 and 3 against Imavov. I'm sick of saying that name, man. But, however, I do believe he will be dictating where this fight takes place, and also has the ability to catch Daukaus on the feet, because he has that crazy power in his right hand. Daukaus has a few tendencies that I think, could get him caught here, could burn him here. And that's the ones I mentioned before. And look, I'm not likely to bet this fight just because I'm scared Daukaus is going to come out and just turn up as a completely different fighter. He seems to be improving every time out. If he comes out and polishes everything up and really works on those tendencies that he has in accepting inferior positions on the mat, then he could look like a huge favourite in this spot. But that's the risk with betting against these younger fighters who seem to be improving or making improvements every fight. So that's the game you play. But yeah, as I said, I was going back and forth on this one. I think I'm going to end up with Phil Hawes. So yeah, the prediction is Hawes by KO, because that's generally how he gets it done. Doesn't like go into decision very often. I think he might catch Daukaus. Daukaus does have a good chin. He's very durable, and he is very tricky off his back. But yeah, I just see him putting him out, I guess. He doesn't like going to decision very often. So I think this fight should be about a pick'em. I think the line right now should be reversed. So Daukaus should be a slight favourite, so Hawes should be a slight favourite, and Daukaus should be a slight underdog. But yeah, maybe if Phil Hawes got to like $2.35, I'd play him. But at the price that he's at the moment, I'm not that keen on it, because he's got a lot of flaws in his game. He's got a lot of holes that Daukaus could exploit here. So yeah, he's not the guy I have the most confidence in. But I think he should be the favourite in this fight.